This is Common Courtesy with Sean Nicholas.
She got that cushy $1 million.
So are you saying like one of those adults could be a doll?
Yeah, dog.
But that
No, come on. So
no. Nikki Brew.
You sound like you're at least in your 20s. So my advice would be like, go get an apartment and maybe test out some dating sites because I don't.
Courtney Harbaugh.
Okay, well, first of all, was it a suspect or was it his significant other? That's an honest question.
Angelique Young.
Run the risk of getting a fine, and you run the risk of potentially going to jail for coming here. It doesn't mean you can't stay home and do it. How many people?
No, that's wrong.
Ivan Alexander.
I mean, the video could have been done a little differently. I mean, I just think, again, to me, it's extreme, but that's just my opinion. So I'm going back to my wine. We're good.
And Dr. Christina Palin.
Look who he was for Trump, and look at how he's getting nothing from that circle, right? And even
I'm so excited. We have a full cast again. Yay!
Tonight's topics. Britney Spears speak out finally in a public testimony, but will this sway the judges in her favor? Then the crash heard around the world. Should this woman be sued? But before all that, we get a chance to interview LGBTQ author Keven Renken. All this with guest star Miah of NBC's The Voice. Sit back and enjoy the conversation. Hey guys, and welcome back to Common Courtesy. Yes, I am your host and moderator, Sean Nicholas. With me tonight, I have my co-host, Nikki Brew. Yes, and then I have, yes, it's going well. And under her, I have Angelique Young.
Hi.
Next to Angelique, I have Dr. Christina Palin. I think she's muted. So anyway, and next to her, I have Ivan Alexander. Ivan, how are you?
I'm fabulous.
As always. And joining us as guest co-host for our mid-season finale, we have Miah. Yes, how are you?
Hi, everyone.
My sister.
Hey, sis.
Thank you so much for joining us, Miah. You made some time in your very busy schedule. I just kind of want to ask you just one quick question while you're on this show, because I saw you were on The Voice. I just kind of want to ask you, how has that exposure changed your life, and how is that helping you help your community?
Well, it definitely gave me a platform for me to shine, and it's beautiful to be part of such an amazing community and to celebrate Pride and to be on a national level, to shine and be one of us it's amazing. And hopefully I'll be back. You never know.
I love it.
Cheers.
I hope so, because you have a beautiful voice. So, guys, let's get back. Let's get to topics. Thank you for joining us. Tonight, we have a very special guest, someone that is very close to my heart, a former educator of mine back in my high school days at Pinellas County Center for the Arts. Now, Keven Renken has taught there for 30 years. He's just retired. But before doing that, he just released his new book. It's called Welcome to the Day. And tonight we have him as our special guest to ask him some questions about that. Please welcome to our panel, Keven Renken.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, everyone.
Hi.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much for being here and making time.
My pleasure.
So let's get this interview started, Keven. So one question I wanted to ask you, like you taught at Gibbs High School at the Pinellas County Center for the Arts for over 30 years. And you were the head of the theater department. Mm-hmm. What inspired you to What inspired you to write this book?
And
can you give us a little synopsis behind Welcome to the Day?
Sure. I've had it in my head for a long time that we're never too old to get back to what we consider home or get back to those that we love. I mean, that story's been told as long as we've been telling stories, and I've had it in my head for a long, long time. And several years ago, I was in a play where I had to write on stage, and the first couple of pages of this book were actually written on stage while I was performing on stage, or while I was on stage during this play. I just really wanted to tell this story about this man who is looking back on his life when he has limited days left and questioning some of the decisions he made and some of the relationships he had that maybe didn't quite turn out the way he had expected they would. And it's never too late to understand that maybe regret is a waste of your time, but also to redemption can be found in all kinds of places. As this man who just gets a piece of bad news about his health goes on this little journey throughout the day and kind of gets to relive his life and understand that the choices he made weren't all bad ones and his life was good. And he has a gay son, and so that's why I consider it an LGBTQ book. That relationship is fraught with more drama than perhaps you would have liked. And so that's where the book came from, and it's loosely based on my relationship with my father. And as a matter of fact, the cover is a picture of my father in a family portrait, but they cut me and my mother off, which I asked them to actually. See right there. I asked them to cut off my mother, and if you look really closely, there's a chubby little hand right there. That's me. That's my dad and my older brother and my older sister. And it was really important to me to be able to give this book to my father. And this past, January 2020 was his 90th birthday, and I gave him a copy of the book, a hard copy, for his 90th birthday. And then 9 months later, he passed away from COVID. And so it was really, really meant a lot to me that I was able to hand it to him while he was still alive. So.
Okay, so I almost cried. So did everyone else. Let me go to Jay. Jay, you have a question for Keven?
Wow, that's some deep stuff. That's amazing that you're able to share that with him. I don't have a question. I'm just in awe. That's like a jugular right there of emotion. But thank you for that, and I'm so glad you're able to share this with everybody in the world. Wow.
I almost cried, bitch. Like,
yeah, bitch, you got me. I'm here like, ooh, not my moment to talk, but I'm going on in the back.
Everybody's taken aback a little bit. Wasn't ready for the real life tea, huh?
Oh, yeah. That's the real life part of it, actually. Yes, is that I was able to give it to him before he passed. Yep.
That's incredible. Nikki, let me go to you, Nikki. Nikki, do you have a question?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. It may be, I don't want it to be an invasive question, but obviously that was an enormous gift for you to be able to get him that book before he passed. And I can only imagine the emotions that accompanied being able to do that. I guess my question is how long was it always okay between you once, once everything was out in the open? Was it always okay? Was it difficult? Was it a long time before it was okay? That's why I feel like that would kind of like accompany the emotions behind giving him the book. So I was just kind of curious about that, if that's something that you're willing to speak about, and if not,
by all means. I was raised on a farm in a very, very small community where and my father had, I think he thought I was either going to be a farmer like him or a Lutheran minister. Can you imagine? And it just, I lived in a very small community where I didn't feel like I fit in at all. And I certainly didn't fit into this rural environment that I was raised in. And particularly when I was a teenager and it was very apparent I wasn't going to follow in the direction that my father thought. And as a matter of fact, I became a theater major. Once again, can you imagine? And so I had kind of a rough relationship with my father for a long time. But I will say, when I came out to him finally, which was after I was with my husband for a while, and I did it very backhandedly. We came to visit, and Bill was with me, and I did it we were waiting for the plane to let us board. So I had like minutes to go with my family still. And it was like, by the way, thank you very much for inviting Bill. It meant a lot to me. And I know it's hard for you to have a gay son, but it really means a lot to me that you accept Bill. Like seconds before I got to go on the plane.
Oh my God.
Wow. I mean,
So
can't really argue with that delivery.
No, not at all. And the next time he came, my dad hugged Bill and said, "Take care of Keven for me."
Oh, that's so sweet.
Which has to have been such a huge step for my father to be able to say that. So it was a long struggle and a long journey, but I think we were in a decent place when he passed away. So
that's
it
wonderful.
sounds like it, and that really is wonderful. Thank you for sharing that.
You're very welcome.
That's
Angelique.
it's a beautiful growth story.
I'm sorry about that. Angelique, let me go to you.
Yes. Okay. So we answered my first question because I was asking if this story was based on any of, your personal life situations, or how much of it might be based in like your actuality and how much is based from your creativity. Because at first glance, the book is 197 pages, I think.
Yeah, that's it.
And I think most people would think that, it must be kind of like a short story, but there's a lot of depth to these characters. There's a lot of depth to the stories. The twists and turns are better than anything I've seen on Shondaland. So I'm really excited. I kind of want to know more. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on, right? But in this development of this story, how did you come to building such, I don't want to give anything away, but how did you come to that kind of I feel like it's a 7-layer dip with these characters. How did you build that dip? How did you come to that kind of thing? Was it all based off of just this relationship with your dad, or were there other key factors?
Well, originally I thought it was just going to be the story of Raymond, but I went to graduate school at University of Tampa and got my master's degree in creative writing. And I got my degree 2 months after my 60th birthday. That was kind of like a thing I wanted to accomplish. And so my mentors helped shape this. They said, "Why don't you tell Cassie's story too?" And without giving too much away, the assumption was that Joanne was totally gone. And then someone said, "What if she isn't?" Without giving too much away. Do you understand what I mean when I say that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's where that big moment came from, is that, without giving too much away. So I wanted to go to UT because I knew it would force me to finish the book. It was my graduate thesis, but they helped shape it so much. It became about Cassie as well as Raymond, and the whole thing about Joanne and her presence in the book really changed because of my mentors at UT. And I will tell you, Cassie is really based on my older sister. And after she read it, her first comment was, "I sure cuss a lot in this book." That was her first comment in the whole book. And I said, "Yes, you do."
Ivan, let me go to you.
All right, hold on. I'm on Amazon ordering right now. A second, I got to finish ordering. Second, so, I guess my other question, I'm right there. I'm ordering, send, thank you. It'll be here. I have Prime, not a problem. So now that you kind of left me with the question of, when's the next book coming out? Parents I've I've seen the reviews. They said it was fabulous. Your creative writing skills were like over the top. You gave the characters larger than life personas and made you really feel like you were one with them. So I need to know about when the second book's coming out and when I get my first book signed after I get it delivered. Because I'm gonna need signatures for the future.
I will do that in a heartbeat. Let's meet for coffee and I'll sign that puppy.
Yeah.
I will. I'll buy anyone a cup of coffee if they bring me a book to sign. I'm a little bit of a book whore when it comes to that kind of thing. So I will tell you the death of my father was a bit of a it stopped me in my tracks for a little bit because it happened during COVID, and that's also when I decided to retire. But I'm about 2/3 of the way through a book of short stories that becomes a novel, if that makes sense, called Wayward Child, and that's based on my life a lot more. And then out of the blue, about a month ago, an idea has gripped my brain and refuses to let go. And it's wanting to be a hybrid of a novel and a graphic novel, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And so I'm very intrigued about doing a hybrid of those two things. So I'm thinking, do I want to illustrate it myself? Do I want someone else to illustrate it? So that one is working its way feverishly through my brain. So Wayward Child could be done and published by the end of this year. And we'll see how far along I make it on the third one. We'll see. But I actually have two things in the works right now.
Awesome. Okay, Dr. Palin, let's go to you.
Well, I just, I kind of, you kind of brought like a nostalgic effect, just listening to what you were saying about how you connected with your dad towards the end, of his life. Mm-hmm. And, even though it is not on the same level, from my, my parents emigrated here when I was 8 years old. I come from a very, very strict cultural background. And I felt very disconnected, growing up here. I felt very disconnected the same way. Like I just couldn't go their way. They wanted, a woman who just wanted to procreate, get married at the age of 17, and all the things that I wanted to do to go become a surgeon and, albeit a trauma surgeon, were all just beyond their thing. So I feel I lost my father 3 years ago, and I had only started to connect with him and be able to assert my, feminism and my strength with them just recently. So it just kind of like completely reminded me of that, about how, it's so difficult to break these barriers, and you want to so much fit with your parents. And I see that in you, and it just comes right across. I can even see some of the pain still, like that's like a remnant, and I have that too. So
I think one of the longest journeys we have in our life is with our parents.
Yes.
And that dance is something we never stop doing as long as we're together. So I think it was a subject that I really needed, for my own sake, as well as anything else, I needed to examine that, I think. And so I have.
And it's very cathartic. It's very, very cathartic.
It can be. That is certainly true. You're right. Yeah. So, and you get to say things, I think, that when you write that you don't necessarily say in person, because I don't think we always say in person what we should. But boy, I can write it down, and you can read between the lines if you have to. So that as an author is a gift for me, being able to say things that maybe I wasn't able to say out loud. So, but now it's out loud on the page. So.
And I wanted to say that it is a beautiful gift, because just this interview, it's like, I feel like I'm on an episode of Oprah. But guys, I really do. Because through this book, I feel that I've learned a lot more about you, Keven, because it's one thing you being a teacher, because I want to say that watching you and just you living your life, as a gay man, I didn't know there was like, a happy ending out there for me, and I see you and Bill. I see you and Bill, you've been with Bill since I've known you, yes. And for you to have the bravery and the strength to share your life and to share, and even with your students and even through this book, because like Dr. Palin said, I felt like there was a lot of cathartic feelings of getting things out in that book as well, and especially the scene where his son comes out, the Joseph comes out, and even the grandson comes out as gender fluid. So I mean, I see that a lot of things that this book is very modernized as well as poignant, that we need to have this in our community. And I just want to thank you so much for being here, because we're out of time.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank
I
you.
really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for sharing.
Love you all. Let's have coffee and I'll sign your book.
Yes, I look forward to meeting you for coffee.
Definitely.
I want a signature for sure.
Great. Sounds good.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Like I said, guys, if you need to find this book, it is on Amazon. Again, it is called Welcome to the Day by Keven Renken. Please get your copy now. All right, guys, we're gonna move on
Just
to
ordered
we're gonna say
mine.
goodnight to Kevin. Yeah, right. We're gonna say goodnight to Kevin, and we're gonna move on to some other hot topics we got coming up. So, like I said,
He's
what
like,
we saw
later.
earlier today. Yeah, right. We gotta like.
No, that was a lot.
I know, girl. Like, I was about to cry. Like, I thought this was like, common courtesy by Oprah. But like I said, he's a very beautiful teacher. Like, I learned so much through him, not just by him teaching us theater, but also as well just through his life. All right, guys, let's get to this crazy ass video I saw Saturday at the Tour de France. Basically, this is a crash.
This is crazy.
Right. This is a crash that was heard around the world, and I have a little video just to get us on topic.
Taking out a sign, and down goes Tony Martin.
Oh, Tony Martin, you hate to see this, I don't know what I think of this yet. I'm going to have to take a day to process what I think of the spectators on the side of the road. But yeah, unfortunately, Tony Martin, and it was just a domino effect. When the riders are that nervous, you're smacked in there like sardines.
So that's a little bit of what we saw this weekend at the Tour de France. So this woman has since disappeared because the organization she's fled the country. The organization that owns this the Tour de France wants to find her and sue her. My question to the co-host is, what would you do? Would you run, or would you stand and face the music? And the first person I'm going to ask this question to is Miah. Miah, would you run from this, or?
I mean, I would stand and face the music. I mean, we all, have shortcomings, and this one is a little deep, I mean, everybody fell. I mean, I don't know about you, but that's some deep shit. That's real deep. I don't know about you, but I mean, I would eat the crow. It would just be like, I'm sorry, I had a blonde moment. I don't know. I mean, that's a deep. That's some deep shit. I don't know. I'm gonna sip on that one.
I love you.
I don't know.
Okay. All right, let me go to Angelique. Angelique, what would you do? Would you face the music?
Come on, sis.
Listen, like, on one hand, like, the responsible side of me is like, bitch, just take the bullet, right? You did the deed. If the only thing that kills me, it's like on camera, they have like a full view of her. Like, she literally was outside the box, like in the middle of what did you think was gonna happen, sis? Like, that I can't comprehend like why she would have to sign in the middle of the road. Like, the camera is they're not there for you.
This ain't that moment.
But you ruined somebody's career. This is, people train their whole lives to do this race. And your actions literally have serious consequences for these people. If I'm not mistaken, they had to restart the race. They were kind enough to do, I think, the first time, only for something to happen again later. Like, it was just like the whole universe was just saying, stop this shit. Like,
right? What's going on?
Yeah. So coming from the standpoint of like, if it were me, I would have just sat there and cried, quite honestly. It'd have been like my first car accident all over again. I just been like, just take me, just here. I did it. Just full tears. Just like, I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know what happened. I can't imagine but I don't know why they want to find her. Like, it's their fault for not having guards up. At every other race I've ever done or ever been to, there's guards up to keep pedestrians out of the way, to protect the racer. So at one hand, yes, I would stand up. Do I think it's fair to fine her or charge her? No. That's just my personal opinion.
Okay. All right. Nikki, Nikki, same question to you. What would you do? Would you run? Should she be sued?
I mean, honestly, I'm kind of like on the same exact page as Angelique because, I mean, how are you going to have a manhunt for this woman? She's probably hiding because she feels stupider than anyone ever has in the history, and worse. Like, obviously she's not a terrorist. She didn't like mean to go out there and be like, I'm going to like cause a collision. She just like was an idiot. She was ignorant and like,
oh God.
There's nothing you can do about ignorance. Like it's everywhere.
New messages received from Israel.
Hi, Ezra.
Hi, Ezra.
Sorry, guys. I have this like extra sensitive, like it's a shits. Yeah.
That is I was like, what's my message?
I'm turning it off right now. Right now. It's going to be better.
Okay, Nikki, I got you. And then Ivan, let me go to you. Ivan, would you run or would you face the music? Should she be sued?
Well, I kind of look at this like, the movie Ghost, where they told Whoopi, Molly girl, you in trouble. She screwed up. Now, my other question is, Ale Opie Omi, okay, which is, come on, granddad, grandma. Who in the hell has a grandparent in that damn race? What did that have to do with her having that big ass sign out there that caused a collision? Granddad wasn't in the race. Did Granddad start the race? I hope they weren't in the collision. Sorry. Well,
right.
It's quite possible. I don't know. But barriers. In certain parts of the race, they have barriers. Other parts of the race, they don't have barriers. When you give people the chance to be in the traffic like that, you're somewhat accountable because it's your event and you gave these people the space and almost the permission to be an idiot and be out there on the road. So they're both at fault. But Molly girl, you better run. Don't come back.
Don't come back.
Dr. Palin, let me go to you. What would you do? Maybe you have a moral compass. Would you run? Would you face the music? Would you face the music?
So what I would think is, if I'm doing something that's stupid, I would at least not want to compound it by running, because by running, she looks more guilty. I mean, look, we're talking more about her running than her even doing the sign. It's the issue of running. So, but I agree. I don't think she should be prosecuted. And I think that the event planners are just as culpable, for this as she is. But her running highlight. And so it's like, it's just stupid all around. What can I say?
Yes, agree.
I have to agree with everyone as well, because dead ass, one, I'd fucking run because I mean, yeah, let me just say that because let me just say that because even with you have my ass on camera, right? Because I'm with Dr. Palin. If I'm gonna do something that fucking stupid, I gotta be out of this bitch, But should they sue her? Absolutely not, because I would think that what I saw was a damn hazard. Like working in a bar, you're always looking for fucking hazards, right? And literally before this shit happened, I thought, they should have some barriers because you know how people are. Like even Angelique and Miah and I can tell you that doing a drag show, you have drunk people just want to walk in during the performance. I remember I had this dude walk through. I was doing this Power Ranger, backflip, in this bitch, and I almost kicked him in the face. And if I did, he can't be mad because what he fucking missed was there was a show going on, and he wanted to have the audacity and the bravery. And the bravery to get in the way. Yeah, sit down. So I think this is a learning lesson for every the fuck body, because that's teaching the Tour de France that's not a good idea to have bitches like on the side in a bike race.
With
barriers.
Right.
Listen, yo, I do drag shows all the time, and anybody who knows me knows that I'm high energy. I flip, I kick, I dip, I do all kinds of stuff. I cannot tell you how many people I have kicked in the side of their heads or kicked in their chest or in the back of their ass doing a backflip. And if it comes between me hitting the floor and you hitting the floor, you should not be in my way. The stage is mine. The runway is mine. It's literally built for me as an entertainer. It is not built for you to get your ass on. You're not supposed to step in the road. And anytime there's any vehicle of any kind on wheels on a road, you should never be leaning into it. Plain and simple. I was just more mad at how bad he went down from her side. Like, she didn't even get budged as much as he did. Like, that fall, she knocked him completely, like the whole arm, like she clotheslined him. He literally went off the bike and the bike kept going. Like, I was like, oh my God, how strong does she have to be to hold this cardboard? I don't even know. My mind was racing.
We're gonna move on really fast, but like after this shit, I would have got up. If I was the first person that hit this bitch and I would have fell, I would have got my ass up. I would have got my broken body up and would have been swinging on this bitch. Because one, this is a race too. I just lost a lot of money.
Lost it.
Yeah, right. So I don't like being hurt either. Like, getting the vaccine, the one thing I didn't want was that fucking shot. But I get, ran over by multiple bikes. No, I would want to find this just to fight her ass. No, I'm kidding. Let me not go back to that. All right. So, guys, let's go to our last topic because, what was the biggest thing being talked about last weekend was Britney Spears coming out with her public testimony about her conservatorship, which this has been going on for a couple of months. Like, we did an episode about #Free Britney, and I feel like this is all coming ahead. But let's get a little backstory on what she said during the public testimony.
I'm not lying. I just want my life back, and it's been 13 years, and it's enough. It's been a long time since I've owned my money, and it's my wish and my dream for all of this to end without being tested. Again, it makes no sense whatsoever for the state of California to sit back and literally watch me with their own two eyes make a living for so many people and pay so many people trucks and buses on tour on the road with me and be told I'm not good enough. But I'm great at what I do. And I allow these people to control what I do, ma'am, and it's enough.
Okay, so she also went on to say, they controlled parts about her life, actually confirming a lot of the things that was said in the #Free Britney movement. Like, she couldn't have a baby when she wanted to. She couldn't see her kids. She also couldn't see her boyfriend as well. She says that Jamie Lynn, her father, is still in control of this. So my question is, will any of this help sway the judge's judgment? And let me go to Dr. Palin first.
So I just want to this is like, right up my alley, as you know. I just want to make a point about how we are so completely, as the average person, ignorant of what goes on behind closed doors in the courtrooms. The court system, the legal system has become unhinged in this country. And if someone like Britney Spears goes through something like this for 13 years, where she's completely blocked from being able to have her own attorney, being able to have her own rights asserted, and someone is controlling her. We've watched rock stars and movie stars, go in and out of a rehab. No one has gone into that. But the fact that Britney Spears has tells us that the court system is completely broken. We need to dismantle it, walk away from it, and create a new one so things like this never happen. This is not a joke. This is a very serious problem in our society that affects us systematically. I'm talking about economics. I'm talking about, employment. It's a system that is sucking up a lot of money to sustain itself. We have now 73% in this country. We have wrongful convictions and innocent people sitting in prisons. 73%. It's not 10%. It's not 5%. We've done the study. We're going to present it during our campaign. That is not a civilized society. It just simply is not. What we've seen with Britney Spears is completely a reflection that we are completely out of touch with reality of how much the players, judges, prosecutors, attorneys are controlling our lives. And we're letting them control our lives because we're electing them into office. We have to stop electing lawyers into public office so we can get rid of this ridiculous system that they've created where there is zero accountability. The judge in that case that said over that conservatorship for 13 years. She's not going to face any fines. Nothing's going to happen to her.
So my question,
that allow that is nothing's going to happen. Yes.
So my question is, do you think that her public testimony, will that affect the judge's decision?
Again, this is such a complicated web that if the judge decides that is not, the judge is not just going to do whatever whatever is feeding her position. She's not going to. There's no accountability for you to say, for the question to be that can public opinion make a difference. It's an absolute no, because there's no accountability. She's not going to get punished for this, no matter how much of an outcry there's in the entire world.
Okay, so let me go to Miah. Miah, do you think that her public testimony, do you think that will affect the judge's opinion? Do you think this will help her get out of it, even after what Dr. Palin said? I know that was
Well, doctor, you're right. I believe 100% it's systematic. It's so much deeper than what we even get to see. But I do, you can hear in her testimony the sincerity, the realness, the rawness of that this is really traumatic, and that this is, the plea for it. So in my, rainbows and unicorn sunshine type of life, I would hope that this would resonate something in anyone that gets to hear her plea of this is not right. I mean, the fact that she's paying for all this shit to happen, I just find preposterous. And it's sad. I mean, you can hear it. It doesn't sound like the Britney we grew up with, that we love. She's like literally reading like a plea. And if someone can't hear that, like Dr. Palin said, it is deeper than that.
Okay. I agree with you. Let me go to Nikki. Nikki, what do you think? Do you think that her public outcry, will that change anything for her?
I mean, I can't, who's to say what will actually get through, but should it? Yes, 100%. I feel like it's absolutely, like, it's putting it all out there. And if somebody's not listening now, after after everything else that we've seen that she's gone through, then who knows what then. But Dr. Palin is right. Like, the system is very, very flawed, and there needs to be, changes on so many levels that it's barely scratching the surface with a case like this, which is just completely sad and horrific.
And she's the first artist to really speak on it. Sorry, but yeah.
Oh no! Please don't be like. It's awful that it takes this. That it's taken this much for her to get any kind of reaction. Like, I can't quite fathom living in that kind of a hell, like that kind of a nightmare where everything that you do is controlled, and you're so in the public, like you're so in the public eye, and you're so famous that it's almost like it would be unbelievable for you to be going through anything. So I think for a long time, that's what she dealt with, that she just was in this mental and literal prison. And the fact that it's taken so long and this much, and that it's even a question if it will help anything, I think is horrifying and sad. And, if the system is flawed, but if nothing comes of a plea like this, then it is more flawed than, it's more flawed than any of us would even know what to do with. And the changes just need to be astronomical at that point, because it's just heartbreaking.
Absolutely. Let me go to Ivan. Ivan, what do you think? Do you think her coming forward with this? Because I'll be honest, this is like the first artist, like Miah was saying, to come out with something like this. It's almost like a Tina Turner story, if you ask me. What do you think?
Well, should her testimony help her case? Of course it should. Will it? Probably not. Dad is making $16,000 a month off of this situation. For how many years is that going on? It's all about the money. Where's her dream team attorneys? Literally, they got OJ off, I'm sure, with enough money, they could hire some people to get her back to her world. So what's going on, people? It's called money. It's called money. It's all about the money. And those people who are in control of her money do not want to get rid of it. They want to keep that money coming in and keep her as the workhorse that she is. And unfortunately, until somebody gets off their ass and changes it, it's going to be that same way. Sorry, Brittany. I'm rooting for you, but They better go deep in those pockets and get the right attorney to get you back to your life. Just saying.
Let's go to Angelique. Angelique.
Yeah, this is probably, for all intents and purposes, I really don't try to focus on celebrity drama and issues. And for years, we've been dealing, for 13 years to be specific, we've been back and forth with this. Britney isn't allowed to do what she wants to do. She doesn't have these rights. And people have been whispering these things for so long. And now finally we have from her lips exactly how she feels. There's been so many times where she's done things that have been silent cries for help, and she's not allowed to talk about it. She's not allowed to speak on it. They would have taken her off of social media, taken her off of everything if she ever spoke one word, right? Everything would have gotten deleted because he has that much control. I can't imagine what it must be like. I mean, people really have to stop and think, like, first and foremost, like, I do hope that her testimony does help. I feel like it will help because I don't think they were ready for what she brought to the table. As somebody who sits in, and I worked inside of a mental health facility. And when you sit at the table with somebody who has a mental health issue, who is dealing with a disorder of some kind, they normally are not able to articulate themselves in a way that makes you feel the same way that makes you feel like sorry for them or feel bad for them or able to overturn it. I've watched people come with like written notes about why they are of sound body and mind and are capable of taking care of themselves and all the things that they have and other things that they've accomplished in their life. And they put it out on a table and a judge literally, it's like when the commercial comes on TV, or when you're in the car radio and the commercial comes on, everybody hears it, but nobody's listening. Mm-hmm. So the question is, it's not necessarily if it'll make a difference, it's are they actually listening to what she's saying? Mm-hmm. She stated that they don't let her, she's not allowed to make decisions for herself. They made her get birth control. They literally inserted one against her will. They said that, she said, I literally make these people money every mm-hmm. single day. I pay all people. I pay everyone. Mm-hmm. And I go on tour and I do these things. And how could you possibly think that I'm not capable of taking care of mm-hmm. myself, but I'm capable of spending my money on all these people? She's like, if that's the case, it should just stop. You know what I mean? But she doesn't want it to stop. Mm-hmm. She wants her life back. She's not mm-hmm. saying she doesn't like doing it. She doesn't want to help people. She doesn't mind providing for people. She just wants control of her life. She's not mm-hmm. asking for everything. She just wants her. And that's the thing that people have to understand. Like, you can't imagine what it must be like working your whole life in the industry to pursue a dream that you love, to get it and have one person not only take it away from you and lock you up. It's literally the definition of why a caged bird sings. Like, you have to think about that. The caged bird is not singing because it's happy and blissful and peaceful. It is trapped. It cannot spread its wings. It cannot fly. It is distressed. And it sounds like a beautiful song, but if you really knew what she was saying, you would not be rejoicing. You would have tears of sorrow. And that's what this little clip was. This 20-minute clip, it wasn't even a fucking little clip. Like, it's literally her getting her chance to have a voice, to speak about it. And now it's undeniable. It's like, once it's out the bubble, you can't talk. It's not a theory. It's not a conspiracy. It's real life. So I really do hope it helps. I'm praying. I'm on the optimistic side. I think this is a win for her in some aspects because she's never been allowed to do this. Why now all of a sudden are they allowing her to do this? Why did this?
That's the other question. That's the other question. Why now?
Because she was never allotted this before in 13
mm-hmm.
years. So what changed? What happened? Something had to happen. Papa Joe lost something. He is crack.
I just kind of want to say, well, if you think about the hashtag Free Britney movement, really brought this to light because public outcry can do things to like lawmaking processes. Because we talked about this a couple of months ago about everything. I'm going to say 95% of the things that we talked about, Britney confirmed throughout that testimony. And even, she said she wanted to sue her family because it's a little fucking late with Jamie Lynn. Like, I only care about her happiness. Bitch, where were you? Mm-hmm. You're her sister. I'm just saying.
About control over her. Her happiness.
Absolutely. She even went on to say. Absolutely. She went on to say that they got to go out and give all these interviews, but I can't talk about it. Britney gave some real ass tea in this bitch because I never heard an artist speak like this. Like earlier, I said this is like a real Tina Turner moment. You know, Tina Turner was making money for her and Ike. You know, he didn't want to give her his name. I mean, her name after she earned it. This is basically almost the same thing. Like Britney, to me, has earned everything she's done. You know, she's Britney, not Jamie, not these managers. It's Britney, bitch. That's why I felt when I heard this. But
I took everything he wanted. She didn't even want the money. She didn't want nothing. All she wanted was the name.
Her name.
Was the name.
All she wanted, and that's kind of the same in that aspect. It was like she just wants to be her, and I think that might be enough. She's not fighting for the money. She's not fighting for it. She's like, take it, have it. I got it to give.
But I think Britney should get all her money because this is literally
absolutely.
She's the one doing all the work. You know, she's doing the choreography, you know. So anyways, I just kind of I hope we gotta go because we're out of time. But I really do hope that all of this does help her. I think it will, because the fact that we all heard it, just like Angelique said, once the cat is out of the bag, we're not gonna stop listening. Did they listen to her? I hope so. But thank you guys so much for joining us tonight, and I want to give a special thank you to J. Miah for giving us some time and joining us.
Me. Sorry, my lighting is shit. Next time I'll be better.
You're beautiful, so your lighting doesn't matter.
Oh, thank you.
No, you
by
are.
Dr.
Like,
Palin.
It's like soft lighting. It's like first day lighting.
RuPaul's Drag Race.
All right, guys.
Bye, everyone.
All right, guys. You guys have a good night. We'll see you guys next time.
See you next week.
There's no way to